Zach Moss.
And I'm AJ Finney.
And this is
Hippie
Not Hippie. Hey everybody, welcome to episode 56 of Hippie Not Hippie.
Yeah.
We're here, we're wild, yeah. Woo.
Yeah. Oh, I don't know. I feel like we're more than ever in this episode. I feel like we're both kind of like a couple of busted up old men just trying to get by.
Yeah. Wild.
Whoa.
We're wild.
We're wild. Feral.
Feral, we're crazy.
Between homes.
Yeah,
How was your weekend? You had a weird show.
Yeah, dude, my weekend was rad. It started out, so I had a daytime show. Well, my week was rad. I didn't think that I was going to be working at the club at all.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, Ashley reached out to me to get your number because I think she reached out to you and maybe it went to voicemail and she's like, I think we have an old number. And I'm like, I bet that's not it.
No, if you call me and I don't answer, it tells you my number's disconnected.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter who you are. But I'm happy about that because, like, I almost got by a text scam because I'm moving right now and I've ordered some things and, you know, the
Mostly dildos and...
Well, I actually got some new mics that will be cool for us doing stuff.
For the new studio? Or like lapels?
Yeah. Wireless.
Oh, for some sketch action.
Well, and just for recording sets and live stuff, or if we wanted to do man on the street shit. But yeah, they're back ordered, these Rode things. So I sent them to my buddy Tyrell's house so that he could, because he's not moving.
Yeah. And he's staying still.
And he works from home, so he's home most days or whatever. So.
No package thieves.
So yeah, so I sent those to him, and I have some things in transit right now that, you know, aren't timing out well. Like Comcast is like 3 to 5 business days for your modem to get there, and I'm like, that's perfect. I'm literally moving in 2 business days, so it'll be there the day after I move in. They text me the next day, they're like, your modem is here, and I'm like, okay, well, I'm not driving over there. You told me 3 to 5 business days. If it gets stolen, then
it's on you guys.
Yeah,
because you're renting one from them as opposed to just buying one.
I think so. I don't fucking know. I hate Comcast. Hopefully, when we move, I don't have to use them anymore. But back to Comcast.
Yeah, I'm with Xfinity, and it's okay. But I wish we had stronger upload times. My upload strength is brutes.
So you can upgrade. I talked to a person.
A human?
You have to talk to a human because the computer won't tell you upload speed.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, I think $70 a month, I have 100 megabytes of up, which is the same that I had.
Gotcha. But you're with Comcast, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I got to see if that's
Aren't you? I just moved to Comcast yesterday.
Yeah, I'm with Xfinity because...
That's the same thing.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, then I'll... God, that's weird. But this is the first time you're doing it, right? Because they give you those specials. Because I pay almost $80 a month.
Well, just have Marcy do it then, or stop it and start it. You can call them and negotiate out of those.
Gotcha.
You're not locked in.
Yeah, because, dude, when I first moved out there, I had all my internet paid, like all that stuff was $40 a month, and it was great.
That's part of the scam, dude, is they give you a good rate, and then after an amount of time, you just have to call them and say, hey,
I'm not doing this
good
anymore.
rate again. Yeah.
But they also have 10G now.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know how many Gs I need.
Is that 2 times 5G?
It's 2 times 5G. That's
He
5G.
did tell me for $3 I could get a cell phone, and I was like, that's crazy cheap.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
Oh, because it's...
Yeah, they're trying to bundle and fuck me over. And
that's the thing is like, because Xfinity sells like Verizon phones.
Yeah, it's a scam. Fuck them. So, but yeah, I ended up doing 2 shows at Comedy Works this
with
week.
Chad and JT, right?
I did one with Chad and JT. They got in late. Or JT got in late. JT and Strider, who's the other guy who I think does their pod. But yeah, it was supposed to be a self-contained show, but I filled in for them. And then Stanley had me come or I hosted because he didn't like the initial host that they had booked for him.
Is it local?
Yeah.
You wanna-
I don't want to get into it.
Okay. Well,
That's their thing. But yeah, so he didn't want the host, so they got me. So good shows though all around. And then Friday,
I'm just gonna check that email.
Friday, I had one of the weirdest shows that I've ever done.
Yeah.
So I had this construction company contact me like a month ago, and they were like, "Hey, we heard you're the guy to write a funny song."
Oh, I remember. I think we talked about this on a previous episode, right?
Yeah. So they paid me. I wrote this song about safety on the job site,
Yeah.
and then they sent me a bunch of like inside information on everybody and wanted me to do some jokes about the company. It was a 15-minute set in the middle of the afternoon on Friday. I drive up there, I get there, and she's like, "Hey, no one but me and HR and this other gal in the office know that you're coming."
Wow. So it's just
So it's a big surprise for everybody. And she's like, "I think it would be fun to say," she's like, "I want to pull a prank on them. I want to tell them that you're like a safety inspector." Like, so I kind of help her. I'm like, "All right, tell them that I work for OSHA out of Denver, that I'm the head safety inspector down in Denver, and that I'm going to give them an OSHA presentation for the next, like, come and talk to them." So I go out there and I'm like, "Hey, everybody, I'm Zach. I'm the head OSHA guy from down in Denver. Who's ready to talk about safety for the next 45 minutes?
I'm sure they're like,
Oh, God. They were just, you could tell they were like, fuck. And it was her first time throwing a party.
and they're
for
all
the
looking at
company.
her going, "You're not throwing another one of these."
Oh, yeah. Like she just got promoted. So I went out there and I was like, "Yeah, I just want to go over in the back there. I heard a few violations, before I even came out here that you guys had committed today." So I kept this up for like about a minute and a half. I asked the inspector guy and I was like, "Yeah, who came?" Because somebody came up to my microphone when I was in the back and I heard them. They're like, "Testing, check, check, check." And I was like, "Who was on the microphone? Do you have a license to operate a microphone and a PA system?" It's like somebody was touching this microphone without a license.
Yeah.
And they were like looking around, and then I was like, "Yeah." And then Tim got in line for the buffet before the line was open for the buffet. Tim, you're not. That's a safety hazard if you get in line for the buffet ahead of time. But yeah, so it was a good time though, and I was home by 3:00.
Oh yeah, that's about the time I was supposed to be home.
Yeah. You had a fucking
Dude, I had
an adventure. Huh?
So yeah, it was rough. My Thursday, Friday was wild. Thursday we drove out to Montrose with Marciana and the dogs. Stopped in Vale, let the dogs run around. Got a pastry. Showed Marciana kind of where we kind of hung out, and then we got up to Montrose. Everything was fine. Got into the hotel. Went and did the show. It was a private party for England Fencing Company out of Montrose. And I opened the show by going, "Wait, you guys are build fence, right?" And they're all like, "Yeah." And I was like, "Oh, boy."
Yeah.
I was like, I was under the impression that you guys were like fencers, like the sport. And then I just kind of played on that for a while.
And you're like, "I'm a fucking idiot."
Yeah.
And they're like, "Really?"
But I'll tell you what, dude, I got messages on Instagram from those people that were like, "Hey, we really, really enjoyed the show," which was crazy. I mean, it was great pay.
Nice.
So did that, and then the next morning we got up at about 5:30 in the morning, looked out the hotel. Dude, flakes. I'm not shitting you. Like snowflakes about like this at 5:30. And I was like, I woke Marciana up. I was like, "Hey, check this out. It's beautiful, but we might be in some trouble." And
for those of you at home, AJ held up his finger about the size of like he was jerking off a bratwurst.
yeah, about a bratwurst, about a brat jerk.
Yeah.
So and then we got the dogs ready and went outside. And honestly, by about 6:00, the snow had stopped. Dave Testro was out there. He was like, "I'm going to the canyon to take pictures of nature." And I'm like, "Cool, man. I'm just hoping to get home."
Yeah.
And so the snow stopped. We ate, filled up the gas, got in the car, left Montrose with an estimated Arrival time home at 1:20, 1:15, something like that. Not too bad. About a 4.5 hour drive. So we're hauling ass. We get through Parachute, Colorado, and then we're coming up on Rifle, and there's a sign that goes, I-70 closed, exit 114. And I was like, maybe that's a mistake. I don't know. So we pull off at Rifle at exit 90, and I'm like, I'm just going to get gas anyway. And when I went in, there were these boys, like, I don't know, they were city workers or whatever, but I could just hear them going, these goddamn I tell you what, not a Mack truck and this goddamn I-70 knows how to drive. That's a problem. That's why ain't nobody going nowhere. And I was like, what the fuck is this guy bitching about? And I went to the bathroom and I came back out and he's talking to another guy and he goes, ain't nobody moving nowhere. Not east, not west, no one. They don't know how to goddamn drive. It's like little bit of snow falls and all of a sudden they forget how to turn a wheel. He goes, you're going too goddamn fast. I bet that's what it was. So what happens is right before Glenwood Canyon, just west of it, a Mack truck flips, shuts the highway down both directions. Then behind us at exit 72, another accident happens. And then if you look at the I-70 Instagram page, you'll see the one that we drove by, which is near the Eisenhower Tunnel.
Oh, yeah, my favorite. I love the I-70. Shout out to the I-70 Instagram page.
Dude, it's gnarly. Did you see it? That fucking Mack
I look
truck?
At it every morning.
So there's that Mack truck that...
Sorry.
Oh, dude, it's crazy. Did you really see it or no?
No, I didn't.
Dude.
I don't really look at the I-70 Instagram every morning.
It's... look at this. We drove right past that. Isn't that wild? It's a truck hauling a bunch of new cars, and it just jackknifed its way in.
Yeah, it's in the median, though, right? That's not on the road, is it?
Yeah, it's on the road. It shut down one lane. But that's westbound. So we were heading eastbound at that time. This is about the end of our adventure. Then also that day, a truck that was carrying too high of a load that wasn't paying attention right at Golden just ran right into the bridge and fucking flipped itself over. So all that happened on Friday. Long story short, I had to be in Brush, Colorado for a show. I was supposed to be there at 6:15.
God, you really went through like the Colorado towns, like, so Parachute, then in Rifle, had to be in Brush, and then I was in Branch, and then
oh, dude, and it gets so much worse. Like the highway was shut down for 4 hours. We found that out today. So how
long was your detour?
Oh, dude, it was from the point that I left, it added almost 5.5 hours to my trip.
So if you would have just sat there,
I wouldn't have made it.
So it was closed for 4 hours, but your detour was 5.5, and you were 3.5 hours away.
I was still moving. So they opened it up after 4 hours.
So it added like an hour and a half to your...
Oh, to the trip. Like I had to... No. So if that wouldn't have closed, so let's see, 5 hours plus 4 hours, that's 9 hours. I was in the car for 11 hours.
Total?
Yeah, so it added 2 hours to my trip.
To get there, not to get home too?
Oh, no, to get back home. So now you're like, that's 11 hours from Montrose. We didn't go home. We went straight to the gig. I left the dogs.
But then you went that night, right?
Yeah.
Home?
Afterwards, yeah. So then another hour and a half.
So you did 12.5 hours that day?
Yeah.
How was that show?
Oh, I called BK the next day and was like, hey, was anyone mad? Because I couldn't tell. Like here's what happened. So in Rifle, before I get ahead of myself.
Laugh, BK? I don't remember.
Well, dude, I mean, it's also, okay, look. So at Rifle, the guy at the gas station goes, here's what you want to do, man. He goes, you can get on I-70 and sit. He goes, but you're going nowhere. He goes, you want to keep moving. You can do what everyone else is doing. Go up 13 to Craig and then to Steamboat Springs, down Berthoud Pass into Silverthorne, and that's going to drop you out on I-70 on the other side. I've been white knuckled before, but never for as long. It was like 6.5 hours of me just gripping the steering wheel and hoping we weren't about to drive off. Like there were points, man. We went through 10 blizzards.
Well, dude, I bet that's why you're having these pains, dude. You spent so much time in the car. You were tense the whole time.
Dude, it was so
driving.
bad. Like there were points where I could not tell where the road ended. And I was like, I know if I go too far to the right. Marciana took a picture. So this is a photo of once it started to lighten up. Like you can't see shit. But anyway, so
were you glad that she was with you?
It was nicer to have two people in the dogs and Marciana in the car. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just because by myself, it would have been, I don't know what I would have done. I almost threw the towel in literally like 5 times. I was like, fuck it. I don't think I'm going to make the gig. And I was supposed to be there at 6:15.
But then you remembered you were born before 1995.
And you just kept going.
And you're like, you know what? We don't throw in the towel.
We keep pushing.
Yeah. Even if it kills us, who gives a fuck?
That's right.
That's how we live.
We got dollars to make.
Yeah.
And then the other thing that was so weird, I realized I'm such an ingrained people pleaser that it wasn't even the money or my gain. Marciana's going, it's going to be fine. I was like, I'm going to disappoint all these fucking people. And she goes, I'm sure they'd rather be safe. And I was like, it's not a regular fucking just comedy club. There's not another comic they can grab. This is a fucking Christmas party. I just ruined Christmas. So, literally, dude, I was in the car that long.
You can't ruin Christmas in Brush, Colorado, all right?
Oh, boy, yeah.
Those people fucking party so hard. They were like, if you wouldn't have shown up, they would have just fucking put on the new fucking Tim Dillon or something.
Yeah. Well, I showed up at 7:05. I parked the car, got out. Moose was out there. He waved. He goes, AJ. And I was like, yep. And he goes, cool. I grabbed my stuff, changed my boots, went to the bathroom to change. At 7:10, they put BK Sherrod on, and I was on by 7:30.
How'd BK do?
BK did fairly well. They weren't paying attention at first. Like, he had to wrangle them. So by the end of it, he got them kind of to pay attention. But here's the wild thing. It's a holiday party. They'd already been drinking and eating. They'd been there since 5:45. Some of them, their backs were just to me. And I'll be honest, some of the stress from the trip just made it that much easier on me, because I was like, I mean, I'm alive. I'm alive, and I'm out of the car. I think I said that at the beginning. I was like, it's nice to be here. And to be honest, if it's not, it's at least nice to be out of the car.
I kind of want to see if we can get BK on the phone.
Oh,
just because I want to be
just
like,
to see.
AJ doesn't know how he did last night.
On Friday night. Yeah, see if you can get him on the phone. We'll get his opinion.
Yeah, fucking.
But yeah, man, it was, I've been in some hairy situations before driving, but that was, God, that was the worst.
Wow. Well, I'm glad you made it, dude.
Yeah.
It is one of those things, though, where, so throwing in the towel, it's like, okay.
It's the safe bet, but you're going to feel,
well, but
if it feels like failure.
Yeah, but also it's like, you're not just throwing in the towel on the gig. You're throwing in the towel on going home.
Right.
You're throwing in the towel on making money.
Right.
You're throwing in the towel on, you're going to have to fucking lose money.
Yep.
Because you're going to have to pay for a room in this town. It's fucking ski season right now. So, like, what do you think a hotel in one of these little fucking shit towns costs? Like, probably
$200-300 bucks.
$300.
Yeah.
Yeah, 150
and
is probably the cheapest thing you're going to find.
And it's snowing on a Friday, so everyone's coming out to ski.
So all these pieces of shit are thrown in the towel.
Yeah.
All these Gen Z fucking cowards are
also,
fucking...
Also, like, and I don't think Moose would have done this, but in the back of my head, I also can't stop thinking about a guy who books a show and then you don't show up, and in reality, they're like, I don't give a fuck about the reason. Like, I'm just not booking that guy again.
Yeah, man. I mean, can you imagine if you didn't make it and you never did Brush ever again? Yeah, dude. Couldn't work with moose anymore. You'd have
Yeah.
to fucking go further north, work with a guy named Caribou in Wyoming.
Oh man, speaking of
how's
moose,
how's Moose doing? I haven't seen him in a
he's
minute.
good. But I was just last episode with Derek. We were talking about all the meat that my buddy Bill does.
Yeah.
He just sent me pictures. He'd processed a whole bunch of like elk sausage and antelope sausage, and then I guess at Thanksgiving instead of a turkey, they had moose steaks.
Oh, nice.
So yeah, but Moose is doing well.
That's always weird when a human being makes you think about the food that your friend ate.
Well, it's because his name's Moose.
Yeah, I guess if my name was Ribeye, I couldn't be like upset if people were like, "Hey, you know what we had for dinner the other
Yeah.
night? Ribeyes," and I'd be
Was
like,
it
"Oh,
a rib
that's,"
or an eye?
I'd be like, "That's my name, but my buddies call me Ribby."
Yeah. Yeah, man. So it was super stressful. It's the last couple of days have been a little wild. And then I told you I think my medication's kind of squirreling me up a little, so I got to look into that. But yeah, just I had some depression like 2-3 weeks ago, something like that, right around Thanksgiving, and it hit hard, like way harder than it should if you're on an antidepressant. And then after it hit, wouldn't let me get out of it.
Yeah.
Like I said, I worked an entire 8-hour shift talking. I probably said 18 words, and that was because I didn't want to tell anyone what I was thinking.
Oh man, 18 words.
18 words. Hello. Hi. Not well. Gotta pee. I don't need lunch.
Yeah.
I ain't crying. My fly ain't down.
Give me the knife.
Give me
Give me that rope.
yeah, sharp objects.
Yeah. Okay. Well, fuck. 18 words. That's not a lot for the old Finster.
No, dude, that's way low on the average word count.
Yeah. Wow.
I'm not one to trim the fat off.
Did
Shit.
you have to talk to customers?
No, I was back of house guy. There was a whole lot of like the desk would like the bell would ring at the desk and other people would be like, I got it.
Oh, all right.
So I wasn't coming out.
So they were like, we know you're down in the dumps, and your teammates they jumped in for you.
Yeah, I mean that's nice looking back. I mean everyone knew it was not good. And the worst thing I told someone, she was like, "Are you okay?" And I was like, "Look, I don't feel well. I'm kind of dealing with some depression. I got some invasive thoughts." She's like, "Oh, I hope it feels better." And I was like, "It will when it's all over."
So what are you spiraling?
Dude, it's not as fun of a spiral as it used to be. I don't think it was a spiral. It's really just like stuck. I feel stuck. I told someone this too. I don't know if my last ketamine thing, because I got a little bummed out. I don't know if I got stuck, because there was a point where it's like, like sometimes you do psychedelics or something and you get right to the wall.
Yeah.
And then you got 10, 15 minutes and you go, man, this wall sucks. And then all of a sudden when you break through, you're like, oh, this is where I wanted to be. And now you can start exploring. I never got to that exploratory space.
Yeah.
And so I think when you're on ketamine and you're telling your therapist, well, this is quite manageable. I don't know if that's the best place to be.
Well, what's kind of interesting to me, though, is that you were doing well until you did the ketamine again.
Yeah.
So it's almost like maybe you had gotten what you needed from it, and then going back and visiting that other way. Because this is what it kind of sounds like to me, is that the time that you did ketamine recently wasn't like a full disassociative experience. So therefore... Right. What you might be feeling too is like a little more of like, it was more like doing a drug than doing a therapy. You know what than having a necessarily a breakthrough. You know
that
what
makes
I mean?
sense, because if I was to compare that to, I had a buzz. My whole body was kind of buzzing,
and it's kind of maybe a similar feeling to alcohol. I don't know.
Oh man, I didn't think about that. I do know that I definitely had a weird, I didn't tell my therapist this, I probably should, but there was a point where when I used to do drugs, a lot, and it was like you wanted something, and then you got it, you paid for it, you went home, and you felt gypped because it wasn't as strong as you wanted. I kind of had that feeling a little bit where I was like, man, I paid good money for this dirt.
Yeah. Yeah, you got swag ketamine, and you were like, what the fuck is this ditch ketamine?
Yeah, and fucking Marciana, I got this Mexican brick ketamine, seeds all in it and shit.
Yeah, I had to take all the seeds out of the ketamine. You didn't even give me that high. Guy said it was an eighth. I bet it's only 2 grams of ketamine in there.
Yeah, that's what happened. You told me to put that blindfold on. I know when that blindfold was on, you stole my ketamine and you swapped it out with Starburst. I know what you did. Marciana, after I told her the next day, I'll never forget. She goes, "Where are you going to tell him? You're just going to tell him that you're mad?" I was like, "Mad about what?" She goes, "You're just going to be like, hey, you gave me that ketamine. I kind of paid for it, but I was planning to see God, and I didn't see goddamn thing."
Yeah, it's like somebody sold you bunk ass.
Yeah. What's this notebook paper?
Well, yeah, but I don't know. It seemed like you were doing pretty good before it.
Yeah, I think that's part of it too. I'm wondering if I got stuck.
And it might be something that you've done. You know,
it could be, but
I took a lot of mushrooms a while back. This is a few years ago. It's actually like I was on like a bender and I took a bunch of mushrooms and I freaked out and started crying, and my buddies like took me home and I just like
that's where you need to be.
Had this huge release and
like by jerking it?
No, just by out of my eyes and
eyeball cum.
And I think I quit drinking for like 3 months after that or something. Like I just didn't really want to. And then my relationship, I feel like since then with alcohol has just always been different since then.
More manageable?
Yeah. But like that kind of mushroom trip, I don't think would be good for me on a regular basis.
No.
And when things are going good, I don't think that mushroom trip is necessarily what I need, you know?
Right.
So
No. I think you're right. I think it's like the difference between those micros and macros. And
well, yeah.
I mean, I've really contemplated that too. I'm reading a couple of books right now about like microdosing and the history of like different things like that. And I'm just curious, like getting off of some of this shit, this Wellbutrin, and then just wondering what it's like to maintain, as necessary to see if that's valuable.
But isn't that a real common thing though, too, with any sort of drug like Wellbutrin or antidepressants, is that people will get on them and they'll be like, well, I'm feeling good. I want to get off this drug.
Yeah, but
it's like, and then getting off the drug, then it's just kind of kicks the cycle off again.
Right. No, so you definitely can't just stop taking head meds for sure. Yeah. I just want to know if I can go down because of the.
Yeah, you're on a lot, right?
Yeah. I mean, I'm not, 450 is like, that's where, 450 is when it acts like Adderall. That's what they wanted me on. And I couldn't do it. I was so fucking out of my mind at 450. And I had only stayed on it for like 3 or 4 days. And I was like, I got to get off this shit. And then went down to 300. And then it seemed manageable. I just am now starting to wonder about like long-term use and what it's doing to my body. And to be honest, I'm not trying to get off the meds. I'm not wanting to get off the meds because I feel good. I'm just kind of like I got in a low point and have had a hard time pulling the nose up. Like,
yeah,
I felt good after the show in Montrose, and then on the way to Brush, immediately I felt it just going.
Well, and
I couldn't get out of the brush, buddy. I was deep in the weeds.
And dude, that's something that I think just sucks about being a comic is because you get that. Like, you got a huge dopamine rush when you fucking killed for the fence people.
Right.
And what's weird is like, sometimes these corporate shows will get me high like I used to get off of comedy because
of the risk.
Because the risk and the reward, and you're just like, you're fucking, you're nervous.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like normally you wouldn't care, but like there's a bunch of money on the line. You're walking into a weird, it's always a weird situation. You're going to need all your tricks. You got to be on your A game.
Yeah. Well, and that's like, and I had to follow Dave. Like Dave's been on the road. He's been a road dog forever. Like he used to headline the Funny Bones and stuff all the time before Dave Stroop even took him over. And he works pretty clean. And he does a lot of crowd work because he's used to that. And then I'm watching him, and at first I was going, fuck. And then I was watching, and I was like, oh no, everybody he fucks with is fuel for me later.
Oh yeah. I mean, I love an opener at a corporate because they do all the work for you. They tell you what's good, what's bad. They take the temperature of the room and let you know everything so that by the time you get up there, and also, if they don't like them, you can make fun of them.
Yeah. That's true. Yeah, you could just very easily open up by going, hey, I just want to apologize for the first guy. I did bring him out. I saw him do a show somewhere else, and man, he did well there.
So my opener at the construction thing was everybody said grace.
What? Are you serious?
Yeah.
What?
So I'm hiding in this back room, and I hear him, and the guy goes,
They're doing a prayer just like before they eat?
Yeah, well, and the guy who owns the place, he does this. I thought it was actually really nice. He does this. He's like, hey, some of us, don't really know each other that well or don't say hi to each other. But he's like, if you work together and you see one of your coworkers in the morning, say hi to them. Be friendly with each other and be nice because, you never know what kind of day someone's happened. He's like, this guy tried to, I don't know, I guess he took this guy's spot or whatever, and the guy got out and was screaming at him. He's like, fuck you, you son of a bitch. And he's yelling at him. And he's like, I just went over and I said, God bless you. And I gave him a hug. And I was like, I'm in the back listening, and I'm like, whoa. I'm like, dude, the guy screaming at you over a parking lot, you just went up and gave him a hug. I was like, man,
is that real? That really happened?
Yeah, I mean, that's the story.
That's the story
he told, and I'm like, and
that sounds like something that is said in church.
Well, yeah, and then he's like, and then I came out, later, and the guy was like, hey, man, my wife and I just split, and I'm going through a real hard time. And he's like, I'm sorry, and thanks for giving me a hug or whatever.
Thanks for giving me a hug. My dad never did that.
But he tells that story, and then they said grace for Chipotle. For the Chipotle. So they got a Chipotle buffet, and then they got Panera Bread dessert.
You can't mix it up like that. We're going to have big old burritos and then giant fucking bear claws.
Yeah, dude, that's exactly how it went down, dude. And they're like, help yourself. We've got so much food. So I made a nacho to go, grabbed a bag of Chipotle chips, and then grabbed a cookie and a bear claw.
They do have damn fine bear claws.
And I got on the goddamn road.
Because they make the Panera bear claw looks like a bear paw.
But yeah, when I heard them do that, I was like, I cleaned my act up because I had to do like 15 minutes of jokes, and I cleaned that up even more than I was planning to already. Like,
once you heard him say grace, you're like, oh, well, yeah,
boy. But what's funny is they talked to me after the show, and they were like, we wanted you, because we knew that you, this isn't church, the lady said to me. And I was like, oh, wow. I was like, damn, so I could have been naughty. Like, they wanted me to be a bad man.
You wanted OSHA to get called.
Yeah, so. But no, they were fun. I liked them.
Yeah.
They were cool.
Yeah, man, I don't know. I had
the fence people, though, were great.
Dude, they were good. I would do that show again in a heartbeat. Like, they were... What happened was it was wild because they were like, I was told to be, cleanish, but they saw my tape, and out of like 18 tapes or whatever, and I don't know what tape was sent, but they liked me. And I was like, cool. And two of the people that were like at the head of the fence company were laughing, which relaxed a bunch of people. But my favorite thing in the world was when there was an older guy, and in my mind, I'm like, I don't think he's getting any of this. And then there was an older woman who had an oxygen on, and I was like, fuck. I was like, I bet they hate me. And I did the story about my brother.
Yeah, because you're just up there breathing.
Yeah. I'm just breathing and walking around. But afterwards, I got off and I went to go around their table, and she grabbed me and she goes, "You're really funny." And I was like, "Thank you." I was like, "That means a lot." And then the other guy that I was concerned about shook my hand. He goes, "Awfully funny." I was like, "Okay." Everyone else I didn't give a shit about. Like, in the sense of like, they were fine. But it's always like two people that remind me of someone where I'm like, I feel like we're so different that you're judging me and you're not getting this. And I couldn't have been further from wrong.
Well, I did go to the basketball game.
Oh, yeah. You and Jake, right? Old Jake Brown?
Yeah. We went.
How's he doing?
He's good, man. We had a good time. There was a blizzard in the middle of the game, but the Nuggets got their asses kicked by the fucking Rockets. So, yeah. They were down by 20, and there was a blizzard outside.
Yeah, there was. Wasn't that Friday?
Yeah.
I'm more than familiar with that blizzard.
Yeah, so I was like, man, I better get out of here because I got 10 minutes to drive in this.
Yeah. Could have added an extra minute and turned those minutes into hours.
How long did it take for you to get back?
So that was a wild thing. The show was supposed to start at 7, so it didn't start much, 10 minutes later. And it wasn't snowing in Brush when we left.
Yeah.
But by the time we got, I don't know, near Brighton, it was starting to come down. But it wasn't terrible because I was home by about 10.
Yeah.
10:15, something like that. What time did the game get out?
I think we left at like 9.
Okay. So it was probably coming down in the city harder than it was.
Yeah, it was weird. But I don't know. It was not. The Nuggets did not look very good.
No.
It's kind of a bummer.
Yeah.
But
glad I wasn't there for that one.
So, well, Santa's coming soon, AJ. You been a good boy or you been a bad boy?
Oh, no. As we're gonna find out, we need to call BK and find out.
You know what I realized? I haven't thought about that before.
About what? About whether Santa's a hippie?
As an older person.
About Santa?
When was the last time you thought about if you were naughty or nice?
Oh man. I don't know. That's wild. I mean, I feel like I've been mostly nice.
You've been a good boy.
I bet there's been some naughty, though. I can tell you that.
Yeah.
But I guess for an adult, you're probably breaking down percentages. You're like, were you nicer than you were naughty this year?
Well, yeah. I think that's how it works. But I think you have to be 60% nice. Yeah. Once you're 55% nice, then you're naughty, I think, right?
I think I've probably been nice.
If you're 51% nice, then it's like, you're just like, oh, I'm just doing the bare nice-mum.
Yeah.
Just
and Santa's going,
the bare necessities.
Yeah. And Santa goes, well, you're getting a lump of coal. Maybe not a big one, but you're definitely getting one.
Yeah. Did you ever get a lump of coal?
God, you know what? For some reason, I feel like my parents put a charcoal brick in one of our stockings one year, but I don't remember why.
Yeah, I never got coal.
No,
and man, some years
you were real bad. I know I deserve coal.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Jake had a joke when we started writing jokes years ago, and we're real into Jeselnik. It was like, God, what was it? It's like, it's even harder when you get a lump of coal in your stocking if your dad died in a coal mine or something like that. I can't remember. I'm butchering it.
Yeah,
but
I get the gist of it.
Yeah.
Oh man,
that's a good joke. I think that's a good Christmas joke.
Yeah. Do that at the next holiday party. It is a naughty one.
Yeah.
Well, man, this might be the last day at this studio, huh?
Oh, it's definitely the last day at the studio. Fucking shit is getting packed up tomorrow. I'm moving to 5 Points. Man, how I've from the Highlands to Baker to 5 Points. I'll be living in Commerce City. Yeah.
I've been everywhere, man.
Yeah. So no, I'm actually excited about it. It checks all the boxes except for it's a fucking basement, but whatever. I don't know.
It'll be. Dude, I'll tell you this though. You want to be honest? Like a basement in the summertime is going to be nice. It'll won't be so hot.
So basements don't bother me. I'm a basement boy.
Does it bother me?
I like wallowing around down in the dark.
I like wallowing around
in the cold.
In the underdwellings.
I like the little snacks that crawl on the walls in a basement.
I'm a basement boy. I don't need windows.
Yeah. I like a ceiling a few inches from my head. You know?
Yeah.
I like to be, it makes me feel like I'm a big boy.
I'm big. I'm too big for this basement. I like to feel like I'm in a coffin.
I think it's set up pretty nice. I think the only thing I'm like, I wonder what my neighbors are like, but I'm optimistic that I'm gonna.
They're scared of the basement.
Yeah, I don't know. The Venmo payment for my landlord.
You get to Venmo him?
Yeah,
that's wild.
But I looked at I could see in the history the last guy that had Venmoed him for rent for that place.
That Big Dick Randy?
And I was like, it's not a 40-year-old guy.
Oh no, you think he was?
It's like a 20-year-old kid because that's who normally lives in a basement.
Yeah.
But no, I'm gonna be an old basement man, so I don't know.
Twice the age of an original basement dweller.
Yeah, but fuck it. It's got a yard for the dog, and I think
first episode will be called The Basement Tapes.
Also, when you just get forced out of your home in the middle of the winter, there's not a lot of options. You're kind of
I mean, it's kind of an unfortunate situation that you're in for sure.
Yeah, and when
I'm just
over half of the places you look at aren't even real, or they're rented before you get there, or they're a different place, or they're a scam. It's just like fuck. I don't know.
I'm just glad you guys found a place. That was my biggest worry. I was like, fuck.
Yeah. What if Zach has to move back home with his parents?
That'd have been too tough.
Then you gotta, Then you gotta go podcast in South Dakota.
Yeah, I can't just come down to the D. I gotta go to the SD.
And I couldn't just move back in with one of my parents. I'd have to do like weekends at my dad's. And
could you imagine being a grown person and be like, I live with my mom, but I gotta spend weekends at my dad. Otherwise, they both think I don't like them. Why don't you get your own place? Calm down. You will live your life. We're heading to a basement.
Yeah.
Yeah, buddy.
So that famous Woodstock album cover with the couple like hugging.
Oh, the bare butts? Or is it the blanket?
They're just like, the blanket and they're hugging or whatever.
I think I was thinking of that John Lennon that John Lennon album with their butts.
That lady.
Or their fronts.
That lady, the lady in that picture.
Yoko Ono? No. Oh, we're talking about
that Woodstock picture.
Yeah.
She died today.
Dude, you're naughty. What a bummer.
Yep, she died.
She died today?
She died.
What'd she die of?
Hippie news. No. Bobby Erkeline, whose hug became a symbol of Woodstock, died at 73.
That's a good run. 73 is not too bad.
Yeah.
How old do you want to be?
Ooh, boy. It depends on how good I feel and how well my brain works.
Oh, man. I mean, if I get too wild, so I'm kind of torn. I'm like, if I'm so far out where I'm just like, hey, I think Walmart's a bathroom.
So dementia doesn't seem
fun.
Like a whole lot of fun.
No. It seems bad. It's also sad for someone to watch.
But I don't know. I talked to my grandma the other day, and man, I think looking out the window is pretty exciting.
Yeah?
Yeah. She loves looking out of her big picture window.
But does she have dementia? Or she's just old?
She's got the early stages of it or whatever.
Okay.
But she seems like, she's still having a good time for the most part. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, I don't know.
I think it was wild. I was reading something today, and I knew this, but is it Albert Hoffman, the guy that invented LSD? He took it fairly regularly up until he was like 90.
Yeah?
Which is wild.
Why did he stop?
He died.
Oh, yeah.
Like when he was dying, I think one of his last things was he was like,
give me some acid?
yeah, I'm going to go ahead and eat up this acid. But that guy also had the OG recipe. He wasn't just getting it on the internet.
Yeah. So I have thought about that though. Like, because you can kind of be like sedated when you die through modern medicine or whatever.
Yeah.
I'd kind of like to be awake when I die.
Dude, so my dad had a friend. God, this happened so quick. He had pancreatic cancer. No idea. He was working, was having difficulty breathing, and went in, got checked out. They looked at him, and they told him, they're like, hey, just so you're aware, like you're loaded with cancer, and it's already spreading around your body. And he goes, oh. He goes, well, how long do I got? And he goes, you're going to be lucky to make it 7 days. He goes, you're on your way out. He's like, what? My dad went and saw him, talked to him a little bit. He ate a little bit of food, and then he left. And it was like a few hours later he had died. But his wife, girlfriend, whatever, said that shortly after my dad left, he started talking, but then as he started to drift out, just started hallucinating like immensely. And I think that's what happens is I think when the pineal gland senses the body shutting down, I don't know what type of chemicals are in everything, but I think that natural DMT in the brain secretes to kind of start to let you ease into it.
Yeah, which that's something I've thought about because, man, do I like a good opiate.
Yeah.
Where I'm like, oh man, like I want to be on as many opiates as I can up until, when I'm laying there in pain dying, I'm like, I'm gonna be like, ope me up,
Ope.
and they'll be like, we don't do that anymore, and I'll be like, give me some fucking opium.
Opium.
They'll be like, we don't have that anymore. I'm like, give me some goddamn
because I fall apart.
But yeah, but then, right when they're like, you got like about 10 hours left. I was like, hey, let me sober up so that so I can die, with a clear head.
Let me have this. Yeah. Let me get that. I'm ready to go to the worlds of texture.
Yeah. I don't know. I'd be like, give me a goddamn cigarette.
Yeah, it is weird. So in one of these books I'm reading, they're talking about near-death experiences, psychedelics, and like alien abductions. And I haven't gotten that far into it, but they just talk about the phenomenon between the two. And Rick Strassman wrote DMT, the spirit molecule, and he had done that like several years study. And
I don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
Well, there was a book called DMT, the spirit molecule, and Strassman, I think in the 90s, had gotten approval to dose human beings. So he did a study in New Mexico and then ran all the data to find out, is it harmful? How, does the heart rate go up? What's the positive? What's the negative? What's the highest dose you can give a person? And he said the fascinating thing is through the majority of the people, the experiences were very similar. A lot of people talked about going to these other worlds and then these other beings or things like that. It's funny because when they talk about DMT, which I've never done, it reminds me of when I did I am ketamine, which wasn't stepped on.
Yeah, I mean, when I did DMT, I left and went.
Like you left the room, you're like, hey, I gotta take it off real quick.
I went.
Blast off.
I went elsewhere.
Yeah,
but Yeah, I'm trying to just, I don't know, finish my Buddhism book.
Yeah. I'm deep in this one now.
It was, but I didn't realize that Buddhism just calls it, it's not even like the you that's alive right now will die, but there's something about your collective experience they feel that passes on.
Yeah, it's to get to those other bardos before you end up making it to what they call the state of nirvana, and you just keep coming back. And it seems like it reminds me of did you ever see the show Dollhouse, where they imprint people?
Yeah, a little bit.
That's what it reminds me of with Buddhism, where it's like you go through a level, and depending on how pure, or how good or bad, how naughty you were, you go on, but you reincarnate, and with all those collective, the collected consciousness or whatever those experiences were, you hold on as you carry into the next one, and the goal is to just keep moving up. It's kind of, I think it might have something to do with the Akashic records also. Do you know about those?
I don't really, but
or that's what it reminds me of. I should say that.
Yeah. So what's been fun, another fun thing I've been thinking about lately is, so like if they could transfer your consciousness into, like, say you're old and they could transfer your consciousness into like a younger body.
Essentially making you immortal. If you would just keep transferring over.
Well, would you do that? But here's the other question is that you?
Oh, that's wild.
And what gets even crazier about this is that I've been feeling kind of this, I don't know, disconnect.
Yeah.
Lately at times where like just like as time passes and I'm moving like all these homes and like all these things are changing and I'm going through like all my things and just turned 40 and like reflecting on life and everything. And I feel kind of like this, I don't know. It's like if I didn't have pictures of certain things, I'd almost be like, did these things really even happen?
Yeah.
And then, but the other side of that is that your body, the cells in your body fully change.
Every 7 years or so, right?
Yeah.
By technicality.
Which is essentially the same thing that I'm talking about as far as transferring your brain. It's just happening at a slower pace. But it's weird to think that, at, 40 years old, I've been through, 5 or 6, almost by the time I'm 42, it'll be 6 different iterations of myself.
It is a fascinating question on what is I, right? That whole thing of like, what makes you you? Is it the body? Is it like your essence, or is it like consciousness? That is a...
Yeah. But also to an extent, I've already died. I've already died like 5 times.
Yeah, but you're still... this is the wild thing.
Every part of me has fully died. Right. That's fucking crazy.
But you know what the weird part is? It's the car or the meat suit that we're in. We don't get to upgrade the model. Like we're still just... There's a life expectancy on this car. You know what I mean? I think about that a lot. Like that, whatever it is that identifies me as an individual is like in the cockpit of this thing, running it around like those, it's like Krang almost from the Ninja Turtles.
A bio suit.
Yeah. I think about that a lot, where it's like that just rope. I don't know. And then I'm like, what could happen if you could take if the driver leaves and then, if it could just go to...
Well, they're thinking that in like 20, I don't know. I'm just saying that they can probably do it for billionaires right now, but they're getting ready to be able to essentially recreate your consciousness digitally.
Well, we got
Would you want to recreate your consciousness inside of a computer?
Oh God. Like so.
Like one of the ways that
Singular,
they're getting
like-
ready to do it though is like they're setting it up so that like if you answer these questions and the AI can go through and watch interviews with you and all these things.
Yeah.
Like where like after your parents die, you could still talk to them. It could be their voice and it would sound like them and it would give you kind of the same advice. And
You know what's crazy about that though? So to experience that, yeah, it's going to be like them. It's essentially going to be everything that's them answering you. The sound's probably going to be very similar.
yeah.
But would there be a loss in that element of that essence? Like that, whatever that spark is that I don't know what it is.
Well, like they just did a study where people actually prefer content and articles written by AI, even if they know
That it had been written by AI?
yeah.
Why? I wonder why that is.
So that's kind of just a weird. It's like
It sounds like
I could see it maybe getting to a point where people prefer to interact with digital versions of people, even
as opposed to other people.
Even though they know they're not real.
Yeah.
Even though they know they're AI.
I mean, that's what text messaging is training you to do that. You know, in the sense of being able to. If you're on the phone with somebody and you're talking to them, you can't just go, fuck, didn't mean to say that. Let me re-say that. Where like with text messages, you had to overthink what you were saying so many times.
Well, young people don't think about it like we do because they just type it and send it. That's something I feel like that we just do as old people. I don't think young people. Yeah, because we're sending a letter. We're sending something that's written down forever. And for them, they're just like, this is how we communicate.
Yeah, they just go, what up?
But also, like, when I was on AIM as a kid, like on my AOL Instant Messenger.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think I was... Actually, I did think a lot about everything I said on there.
Yeah.
So...
But maybe it's because with our generation, it was a new medium. And so we were used to like writing papers and turning them in and getting back shit with red marks all over.
It's just, it's kind of scary though, because like the whole argument is like, you know, hey, like the voice of a human being, you know, the individual perspective of a human, like having a voice in writing is something that technology will never be able to replace. And already they're saying,
right.
Not only can it replace it, but it's preferred, even when it's known.
That's the part where it's like, you don't have to pay a robot. You can just build robots to do everything.
If you're a writer, like be fucking afraid. They're coming for your shit.
Well, I'm not. I mean, writers, general workers, labor stuff, all that stuff. You think about the insurance it costs on employees if someone gets injured. Think about a robot. A robot loses a hand. You just go, oh, we're just going to build a new hand. At some point, like, how far are we? I mean, this is really fucking kind of paranoid, but like, you know, what point could this just be a world ran by robots? Because if a robot is smart enough, if you build it, right, there's a moment where the robot goes, I don't need you to mastering me.
And now we're just talking about the Matrix.
Neo!
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, it's a pretty deep dive today.
Well, I got to move.
Yeah, I probably need to take a nap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm on the road for corporate this weekend. I don't really have come see Morgan Gallo headlines, Laugh Night on Earth on Wednesday.
Yeah. If you're in Montrose, Colorado this weekend, the 16th, I'll be back up there. I'm literally going back up again with Big Mitch Jones.
Airbnb?
Yeah, to do the Airbnb. And I'll tell you, dude, I'm so nervous after this past weekend. I'm like, I don't think that I'm going to do it again in the wintertime. Like, I think it's just going to be, this is a summer, spring, fall thing for me. I don't know why I agreed to do it in the winter.
Yeah, he tried to get me, and I was like, hey, yeah, I can't.
Yeah.
Well, I had gigs too, but yeah, fuck.
Did you ever figure out that thing about PJs in Arizona?
Oh, no. They were like, we're already booked that weekend. You can come through and do a guest spot. And I messaged him back, and I was like, cool. Do you have another weekend? Because I was like, if you guys aren't going to work me, it's not really worth it for me to do this run.
Yeah.
And I didn't hear back, so I actually think I need to tell them that I'm not doing any of the shows. And then I'm like, maybe I should just go do those shows and then go fuck around and.
I mean, you could fuck around. I mean, you did the spots. Here's the thing: you do the spots, you probably get the work.
Yeah, I could go see the Grand Canyon or whatever.
It is beautiful.
Maybe bring Megan with me. So I don't fucking know.
Yeah. Well.
Yeah. Cool.
Next time you guys see us, we'll be in a new studio. We'll be in the basement.
Motherfucking basement.
In the motherfucking basement.
Where the snacks crawl on the walls.
Snacks on the walls.
All right. Thanks for listening. Love you guys. Like, subscribe, and get on the motherfucking...